So I was continuing my conversation with one of the parents, and I looked back over, and she was laughing, and then suddenly she just fell. She slipped off and just hit the ground really hard, Your Honor.
Your heart must have dropped.
My heart jumped through my throat. It was terrifying. So I immediately jumped off the bench. I went flying over to her. I wanted to pick her up, and I looked down, and she was just screaming.
I know this had to be scary.
And yelling. Loudest screams I've ever heard her scream. And she was holding her head.
Could you tell then that her head was injured?
Yeah, I saw blood, Your Honor. And I also see her arm, it looked like it was broken. And I was just trying to not lose it, but I started to get a little hysterical. I was starting to cry, and so I got down to the ground, and I wanted to hold her. I wanted to grab her and just squeeze her and just tell her everything was gonna be okay.
Sure.
So one of the parents called the ambulance for us. And a few moments later, I was able to kind of gather myself. So I grabbed my cell phone, I called my wife, I told her we just had a horrible accident on the playground. And I told her she's gotta meet us at the hospital.
So, Ms. Hughes, what do you remember about this day? How did you know that something had gone wrong?
I was actually out front of the property working on some landscaping, and I got a call from one of my tenants that a child had fallen off one of the jungle gyms. So, I mean, this is a parent's worst nightmare. No one likes to get a call like this. I'm so sorry this has happened to this family. But I rushed over to address the situation. And, Your Honor, this is when I found out that the child had fallen from the higher level jungle gym meant for the older children. She should never have been up that high. And she should have been supervised. So I'm sorry, Your Honor. I really am sorry this has happened to this family, but...
When you say higher jungle gym and lower jungle gym, explain what you mean by that.
Well, Your Honor, there are two separate playgrounds. One for children ages 2 to 6 with a 4-foot jungle gym, and one for ages 7 and older with an 8-foot jungle gym. They are clearly separated, and there are signs with rules and regulations saying that there are two separate playgrounds.
This is one of your signs here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please ensure all children are playing in his or her designated play areas.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's a parent's responsibility to know how old their child is and to have them play in the right playground.
Mr. Evans, did you see or know about this sign?
The sign is nowhere to be seen. She says there's a sign, but it's so far away. There's absolutely no gates. There are no barriers blocking between the two. We play there almost every single day there, Your Honor. Kids play on both sides, all ages.
When you look at this playground, when your daughter was running up to the jungle gym, did you see there was a difference between the two?
Your Honor, it sits so far back that when you get up to the playground, as you can see in the picture, can you see a sign anywhere in that picture? The seating area is right there, Your Honor.
The sign is right there when you enter the park. It's clear, and other tenants seem to follow the rules just fine, Mr. Hughes.
But the pathway to the gym from our building, though, is straight ahead where there's no sign. So you'd have to walk all the way around the park.
Well, had you seen the sign, would you have kept her on the left side?
Of course I would have done it, but the sign's so far out of the way, you can't see it. And where it said, coming from our end of the park, you can't see it.
His child is 4 years old. What parent lets their child climb up 8 feet in the air and isn't standing right next to them, Your Honor?
So, Ms. Evans, you believe this is not your fault? This happened on your jungle gym, on your property, at your complex.
Yes, Your Honor.
A child is badly injured. Your daughter, she broke her arm, you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
What other injuries did she have?
She sustained a concussion. But I stand by the point that you can see the two gyms. There's no barrier. There's no gate separating the two. You can't tell a little 4-year-old girl that she can't go from one to the other. If they're gonna make it to where they have to have a certain age play on one side and another age play on the other, then they should have a barrier there.